Hey folks, this is my response to Return to Collecting's uh, top 10 players of his favorite team, I guess is what it was, whatever. And I think it was from a channel he watches. Was it Dustin and Blake or something like that? It's not someone I typically watch. I will check out their channel, but did this for Darren really because he threw together a pretty cool Yankees video. Had some really cool cards in there to share, and so I thought I would do the same thing. So I think the cat might be out of the bag. My favorite team is the Kansas City Royals, and they were the 1980 AL champions, and they swept the Yankees to get there, which was pretty exciting. Thought I'd throw that out there since Darren's favorite team was the Yankees. All right, let's get started here. So before I jump into this, I did want to call out a couple of things. One, Bud Black, he's obviously the manager of the Rockies, but it's still kind of great to recall that Bud was a very big part of that 1985 World Series team. Still got the commemorative ball from that year. It was a big deal, and then obviously they won it again 30 years later. So in memory of that, I wanted to call out a couple of honorable mentions. So on that 85 team was one of my favorite players, Willie Wilson. Willie actually led the Royals in stolen bases. From a career perspective, he had well over 600, 700. I can't remember what he finished with. Maybe it says on the back of this card here. He was at 470 and 87. I don't really know what he finished with, but yeah, one of the all-time great center fielder for that 85 team. And then next him in that outfield was Pat Sheridan, who played right field. Pat never had much of a big career, but he's a World Series champion, and that is his rookie card. And then we had Darryl Motley, who was the starting left fielder on that 85 Royals team. So I wanted to call him out as well. A couple of champions there. All right, and that was anchored by old Dick Hauser, who's no longer with us. And then while we were on that subject, I thought, why not call out that 2015 World Series team? So again, a few honorable mentions. We had Raul Adalberto Mondesi, who was the son of Raul Mondesi. We had Danny Duffy, was one of the major starting pitchers on that 2015 team. Danny Duffy likes Burger King Whoppers, I've heard. All right, then you had Greg Holland, who was part of that HDH absolute shut down, lock 'em down bullpen. I could not find a Wade Davis card, so I apologize for that one, but I did have a couple of Kelvin Herrera's, I believe his rookie card here, and then there was a Greg Holland as well, which I wanted to pop that one in there. All right, and then we had Gerard Dyson, who was center fielder for that 2015 team. He actually was a backup center fielder. Everyone probably remembers it was Lorenzo Cain who manned outfield in center, but Gerard Dyson was a pinch runner, did play all three outfield spots when they needed him to, and was, again, not a big flashy standout player other than having incredible speed. Obviously a big part of that team, though. All right, and then there was an anchor of that infield at Alcides Escobar was starting shortstop in that 2015 team. And then there is the man, Lorenzo Cain. He was one of the most exciting players to watch. He actually didn't play baseball until he had gotten into college, if I remember right, and then obviously was a standout. Didn't have a super long career, did retire this year as a Royal. He came back and signed a one-day contract, so that was exciting as well. And then, of course, Mike Moustakas. That's a Moustakas rookie card. Moose was a product of the Royals Farm Club, started out a little slow, but really developed into a solid player. He actually had taken the lead for Royals single home run record, and I forget the number now, so excuse me for that. It was 40, 42, 44, something to that effect. And then Jorge Soler actually came along a couple years later. There's a Soler rookie card, which is numbered, I believe, 749 out of 215. And Soler joined the Royals, I believe, in 2017, so it was a little bit after that. But he had taken that title, or at least took a share of the title from Mike Moustakas, and now someone else has beaten that single season Royals home run record. The crazy thing with that record is that it stood for what had to be over 20 years with Steve Bye-Bye Balboni, and I could not find a Balboni card. I wanted to pop in here as well, and I did not get that chance. So anyway, yeah, almost ready to the list here, but while we're on the subject of honorable mentions, I did want to throw out Giordano Ace Ventura. This is an autographed Ace Ventura card. It's, I think, the only card I have that's graded by Beckett. They do have it as a 10. I don't know if it would be a pristine 10 or a gem 10 or whatever the hell they do now. But anyway, I really like this card a lot. And obviously his career was cut short when he passed away in a, I think it was a drunk driving accident, if I remember right, in the Dominican Republic. So gone too soon, missed that guy. Who knows what his career might have held. And then Freddie Patek, who is in the Royals Hall of Fame. Freddie was a shortstop for the Royals for a number of years, I believe in 1980 possibly as well, when they did win that championship. Don't quote me on that one, because I do remember in 82, I believe, he was with maybe the Angels or someone, whatever. All right, and got a couple Patek rookie cards. Just pop one of them in there. Both of them are SGC 7s. All right, moving right along. Almost done with my special call-outs. I did want to give a quick shout out to Jason Kendall, who played on the team for a short time. I really liked Kendall as a catcher, watching him play. He was also a personal friend with George Brett, so we used to see him in the Crown Club from time to time. Very nice guy. I just wanted to call that out there while I was on the Royal subject. And then Willie Aikens. There's actually a documentary out about Willie's life. His career was cut short because of drugs. It was really too bad. But yeah, if you're a Royals fan, go check out that documentary. I can't remember what program it's on. And then a few folks that are not going to make my list. So Vinny Pasquantino's of the team. Bubba Starling was a huge prospect from the Kansas City area that never was. Got a Hunter Dozier who was released this year. A couple of Nick Prado cards. Nick Prado might be the real deal. He's looking pretty good out there. MJ Melendez is trying to make a transition out to right field. Struggling a little bit, but he still shows some signs here and there. Brady Singer, who again is a big hot rookie prospect pitcher. He's not a rookie anymore, a couple years back. He's also struggling, but man, this guy's got a lot of talent, so maybe he'll turn it around. And then Michael Garcia is somebody that I really believe could be a long-term infield option for the Royals. The guy just seems like a natural hitter. Not much of a power guy, but we'll see what he does. So anyway, now that I'm 7 minutes into wasting your time, let's see what we've got for the list. So I could not start without Bobby Witt Jr. Now, is Bobby Witt one of my all-time Royals? I don't know. I'll throw him in at 10, and we'll see. He's an exciting player to watch. He's also had a few bumps along the way, but I really like Bobby Witt, and I'm excited to see how his career continues to develop. So I just threw him in here at number 10. All right, then next we've got Big John Mayberry. So Big John Mayberry was a slugger back in the late 70s, I guess mid-70s. Played for quite a number of years. I believe he was on the Blue Jays. I think he played for the Yankees. Started his career with the Astros. This is one of my favorite cards, that 70 Mayberry Watkins. It is a near mint 8, which is pretty good for that set. Those gray borders were tough to get good grades on. But anyway, I'd like to call out Mayberry. He is in the Royals Hall of Fame, is one of the Royals greats, and was just a big slugger. All right, next I've got one Vincent Edward Bo Jackson. So Bo was only a Royal for a handful of years, but in terms of impact, I don't know if there's anyone who had a greater impact. So I picked out 3 of my favorite Bo cards and threw up here. Just an absolute electric player to watch. All right, moving right along, we have the Quiz. So Dan Quisenberry was a legendary closer for the Royals. He had the submarine-style pitch. And here is a Royals future star, Dan Quisenberry rookie card. And yeah, met Quiz once, actually walking through the concourse at Kauffman Stadium. And super nice guy, stopped to speak, loved it. All right, next is another member of that 85 championship team, one Mark Gubicza. So Mark Gubicza now is a color commentator for the Los Angeles Angels. He might be the nicest guy in all of baseball. I just really enjoy Mark Gubicza. I actually have a number 23 jersey that I threw Gooey's name on, and I still wear that as my favorite jersey, and really enjoyed watching Gooey pitch. He was just an anchor of that team for years. All right, next up on the list, what do we have? Number 5 here. So Mike Sweeney. So Mike Sweeney has some of the best career numbers for a Royal out of all the players all time, minus one obviously. Mike Sweeney, also classically very nice guy. Used to see him up at First Watch in Overland Park from time to time having some breakfast. Always a super nice guy, engaging with the team, or I'm sorry, the fans. And yeah, definitely one of the top 10 Royals. All right, next I got some people may not agree with this one, but I've got an Eric Hosmer rookie card here. So Eric Hosmer was obviously the first baseman for that 2014 AL Championship team and the 2015 World Series team. Eric was just a leader of that franchise, and so I had to put him on that all-time list. The franchise has been hungry for success, and he helped us to find it, and he was a member of that farm club that was developed up through the system. So I had to put Hosmer on this list. All right, next at number 4, I've got Brett Saberhagen. Saberhagen was a member of that 85 championship team and was a Cy Young winner and possibly one of the greatest pitchers that ever pitched for the franchise. I will say I would have put Zack Greinke in here as well, probably right in the same category as Brett Saberhagen. Zack did not pitch for the Royals as long as Brett did, but both of them obviously did leave the team to pursue healthier contracts. And I realized today when I was preparing for this video, I do not have a Zack Greinke rookie card number 1, but I don't have a Zack Greinke that I could find here. So anyway, I'm going to go with Saberhagen instead. And then as a very close tie there at 4-5 is David Cone, who is also a very similar situation. He was not on that 85 team. He joined, I believe, in 86. And again, Cy Young winner, electric pitcher. I thought he deserved to be on that all-time list for sure. All right, next up we've got a legend in Mr. Johnny Damon. So I wanted to bring up a couple of my favorite of Johnny Damon cards. I really like this Electric Diamond Top Prospects card from Upper Deck. I believe that's a 94. Damon was one whale of a player. He was a guy who just always figured out how to get on base and definitely deserves to be, I believe, number 4 of all time on my Royals list. All right, next up we've got a legend. So Frank White, number 4 of all time on my Royals list, Frank White. Got this Frank White Royals card, which I really like. I was going to get that graded, but I don't think there's really much point to it. I'm not going to get rid of it, and it's not in the best of condition. I think I'd be lucky to get a 6 on that thing. But anyway, yeah, so Frank White, who has served on the Kansas City City Council for years, was a lifelong Royal, and just the cornerstone of that infield, playing at the Keystone spot. Always a great player. Obviously, World Series champion in 85 and in the Royals Hall of Fame as well. All right, 3 of all time. I've got one, Hal McRae. So Hal was a rookie back in 68 for the Reds, and Hal played a number of years in Kansas City, primarily at the DH spot, and he was obviously one of the biggest bats on that 85 Royals team, and I've got him at my number 3 all time for the Royals. All right, next I have one, Salvador Perez. Salvi could be considered number 1 of all time if it wasn't for the Hall of Famer that is on the list ahead of him. Obviously one of my favorite Royals, one of my favorite baseball players in general. Salvi, again, super nice guy. That's why the fans love him, because he's such a nice guy, always happy-go-lucky. Big body, takes a lot of abuse. He's still not that old. I believe Salvi is 30 or 31. I really want to see another 5 or 6 solid years out of him from an offensive perspective, and I would imagine he might find his way to Cooperstown, which I'm really pulling for. All right, and then last, no big surprise, George Brett, number 1 Royal of all time. If anyone has a list that does not have George number 1, it's just wrong. So anyway, George, legendary guy, not only on the field but off the field. He has some of the best stories you've ever heard. Also some of the best numbers, especially from a Royal. So I got this rookie that I actually pulled out of a pack years ago, and one of my favorite cards that I own in my collection, and happy for him to anchor my video here. So again, a little long-winded like I usually am, so hope you were able to hang in there with me, even if you had to speed that baby up to 2 times speed. But I did not add Bob Hamlin to my list, but he is an honorable mention as well, Rookie of the Year. So anyway, all right, hope you guys enjoyed, and if you liked the video, drop a comment below and post one of your own. I'd love to see your favorite players. All right, thanks a lot.